Hello everybody! In today's video we are going to continue with our series on the history of Islam. We have to remember that previously we spoke about the Abbasid Caliphate and how they created such a powerful and strong dynasty. Under the Abbasids, Islam flourished, science, mathematics, astronomy, medicine, etc. And at the time of the rule of the Abbasids, a new caliphate emerged in the West, in the western part of the Muslim world. I'm talking about the Fatimid Caliphate, who was established in the year 909 and faded away in the year 1171 approximately. Regarding the Fatimid Caliphate, was founded by Sa'id ibn Hussein, who claimed to be a direct descendant of the Prophet Muhammad through his daughter Fatima, and from the according to this claim of his, therefore the name, the Fatimids took the name from the daughter of the Prophet, Fatima. So the caliphate was known Al-Fatimiyya, and this was a Shiite caliphate. They conquered a lot of territory in northwestern Africa and established their capital in Al-Qayrawan, in what is today Tunisia. From there, they started a series of conquests and expanded their territory. They conquered Egypt, and we have that when that happened, they shifted the capital and established and founded a new capital that they call Al-Qahira, Cairo. That happened in the year 969. Something important that connected with this new capital is that it was a reference not only of the victory, because Al-Qahira, the victor, was a reference to how they were victorious and they took over Egypt, but also because in that year there was an astronomical event in which the planet Mars was rising. Therefore, this name Al-Qahira had a double meaning, like their victory, but also the rising of the planet Mars. And Sa'id ibn Hussein, the founder of the Fatimid Caliphate, changed his name to Ubaydullah al-Mahdi, the servant of God, the guide. And therefore he, because of his claim of being a direct descendant of the Prophet, he can establish a very, very strong and solid rule up to a certain point. And we have to say that at the peak of the Fatimid Caliphate, they conquered a lot of lands. Not only they rule most of Western Africa, Egypt, they also rule Syria, they also rule what is today Palestine, Israel, they rule Jordan, they rule Yemen, and they even control the holy cities of Mecca and Medina. Therefore, the Fatimid Caliphate, we have to say that and consider it a very solid at the moment. It was not a long caliphate, meaning that it didn't last many years, but at the time was a very powerful one that was the enemy of the Abbasid Caliphate, that was the one that lasted more than any other caliphate in Islamic history. Therefore, something that we have to mention regarding the Fatimid Caliphate is that they flourished because of their extensive network of business, commerce, that, as we can see, all the commerce in all of these lands and all over the world also is significant, and this provided a lot of wealth, money, scientists, brilliant minds that also lived and went to live in Egypt. And we have that the Fatimid Caliphate, besides being the founders of Cairo, the city of Cairo, they were the ones that founded the famous Al-Azhar University, the oldest university in the Islamic world up to this very day. And we know that the great scholars of Islam, number one school of Islamic learning is in Egypt, and it's in Al-Azhar, the university that was founded by the Fatimids. So if we want to point to something positive, was this lasting, let's say, achievement by creating this university, the founding of the city of Cairo, the extensive network of business, trade, commerce, and also at the time when the Fatimids ruled this part of the Islamic world, they were very tolerant with in relation to Jews, Christians, and others, even towards Sunni. And these are positive things that people point to the Shiite Fatimid Caliphate. Like all of the caliphates, they with time came to disintegrate, internal problems, wars and conflicts with the Sunni Abbasid Caliphate and other issues propitiated the end and the collapse of the Fatimid Caliphate in the 12th century. Some say 1171, some say 1161, but in fact in the year 1169 it was taken over by the great Kurdish Sunni general Salah ad-Din al-Ayyubi, known in the West as Saladin. He took over and established himself as a new ruler, a sultan, the commander of the faithful, because at the time of Saladin and around this time it was the time of the Crusades, and under Saladin all the Muslim world united, all the Muslims saw Saladin as their ruler, as their guide, the sultan of the believers. And we all know the victories and success that Saladin brought for Islam during the time of the Crusades. At the time, although the rule of Saladin in Egypt, and of course by this time the Fatimid Caliphate had disappeared, collapsed, but this is new established form of government by Saladin. They were politically and militarily independent from the Abbasid Caliphate in Baghdad, although Saladin claimed and said that he was loyal to the Abbasids. So technically we could say that Abbasids rule Egypt under Saladin. It's quite a complex, really, because if we say that the rule of Saladin in Egypt was politically and militarily independent from Baghdad, and at the same time they say we are loyal to the Abbasids, so it's quite complicated to really say, oh yeah, well, the Abbasids were really in control. Well, technically, by word, perhaps if there were proof of that, I don't know, maybe Saladin could prove that, but it never happened. In reality, Saladin ruled as independent from the Abbasids, from Baghdad. Now, after the end of the rule of the Abbasids in Egypt, which lasted approximately 90 years, it came to an end when they were overthrown by a new rule, a new military form of government. It was established at the time, and they were known as the Mamluks. The Mamluks, that at some point they were at the service of the Abbasids. They ran from Baghdad at the time when the Mongols were trying to conquer Baghdad and destroy the Abbasid Caliphate. They moved to Egypt and they established a new form of government. They took over. Something to point regarding the Fatimid Caliphate, as I said, at the time they were very tolerant towards Jews and Christians and others. And even, so just to exemplify this, the personal physician of Saladin and one of his trusted advisors, and the doctor also of the royal family, was a Jew, was the greatest medieval thinker, the great Musa ibn Maimun, known as Maimonides. He was a great philosopher, a great rabbi for the Jews. He was a brilliant doctor with amazing contributions to medicine. Up to this very day, we have many hospitals named after him. And He was a great philosopher, and we have to say that he was also the personal physician of Saladin, for Sultan Saladin, and also for the royal family, and a trusted advisor. So with this, I'm trying to point that although when Maimonides settled in Egypt was during the rule of the Fatimids, Saladin took over in 1169, took over the Fatimid Caliphate. The Caliphate, the Fatimid, really did not disappear until 1171, meaning 3 years later, though in reality he was under the service of Saladin, which was really outside of the rule of the Fatimid, because with him ended the rule of the Fatimid Caliphate. But my point is that under the Fatimids there was tolerance, and when Saladin took over, tolerance continued, and he was very tolerant towards Christians and towards Jews and towards other minorities. And this is something very important to mention. It's just that when we look at the history of the Fatimid Caliphate, we have to mention quietly in connection with Saladin, because he was the one that took over. So I'm just trying to explain this point and make it clear without any confusion. At the time, a new caliphate also appeared. 3 caliphates at the same time. A new caliphate that was established in Al-Andalus, in what is today Spain, in the year 929. I'm talking about the Umayyad Caliphate. It was an extension of the Umayyad Caliphate from Damascus. Remember that we said that the prince Abdurrahman, when his family was massacred, he escaped and went very, very far, and he went to Hispania, Al-Andalus, and he settled there. And with time, as we will explain in the coming video, about what happened and the establishment of the Umayyad dynasty, the Umayyad Caliphate from Al-Andalus. I want to thank you for your attention in today's video. As always, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, share this material if you find them interesting, leave your comments if you have something else to add to what I have just explained briefly regarding the history of Islam, because it's a very wide topic. Don't forget to follow me on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or you can simply visit my webpage www.joelbenhabib.com. Thank you so much, and we'll see each other in the next video.